Okay, so in this activity, we are going to learn to use our real-time clock. The real-time clock looks like this little sensor here. It has a place to put a regular 2032 watch battery, and it has pins on it. And notice it doesn't have the regular Grove connector on it, so you have to get a special cable for this. And one end has the Grove connector that will connect to our I2C, and then it's got the female dupont clips on it. And the trick is making sure that you plug the right colors into the right pins. An easy way to remember this and always get it right is just look at what your I2C cables are plugged into. And when you look at your I2C port on your shield, you'll see that the yellow goes to SCL, the white goes to SDA, the red goes to the 3 volts, and the black goes to ground. And so when you plug it in and you flip it over on the back, you just make sure that your black goes to the ground, the red goes to the volt, the white goes to the SDA, which is our data, and the yellow goes to the SCL, which allows us to sync the chipset up to our microbit and the shield. And what I've had to do with my existing circuit is I've had to get another I2C hub and daisy chain them together, so you just plug one into the other, and that gives me a set of new I2C hubs to plug together, because my current I2C hub was full of sensors, so I had to move my temperature and humidity sensor to the new I2C, and I'm just now going to plug in my real-time clock into the I2C port. It doesn't matter again which one, because they're all the same. Again, you can just keep connecting I2C ports to one another because they'll just keep going and going. It's a great thing with the I2C port. And when you put your battery in, make sure that you have the little plus icon facing upwards. Okay, otherwise it won't work, and it should be working if you get a little plus sign on the bottom. Okay. Now what we're going to do is learn to code this guy to set up a very simple alarm. And to do that, I'm going to install a DS1307 extension, because that's the circuit name for that real-time clock. And again, how you do it is you go to extensions, and you're going to go to 1307, and you actually are going to get a couple of them, a DS1307. There we go, that's what we got to type. I'm going to hit enter, and you'll get 2 that pops up that's been approved. There's a bunch on GitHub, but the DS1307 one here on the left is the one that always works. The one on the right is made by Tinkercademy. I've had some glitches with that one, so I'm always going to go with the one on the left. I've already got it installed on mine, so when you click it, it'll just magically install like every other extension. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a function to set up my alarm, and then I'm going to add the set timers feature to my OnStart block, so that way when my code starts up, it's going to identify the time. Okay, so let's make a function. So I'm going to go to functions, I'm going to make a new function, and I'm going to call this function time alarm. Okay, exactly what it's going to do. And what I want to do with it is I am going to want to create kind of a if-then scenario. Let's say if the time is past a certain time, I want an alarm to go off. So let's say it's 4:46 where I am right now. Let's say at 4:47 I want the alarm to go off. Okay, so I'm going to do that by setting up an if statement, which is under logic, and I'm going to drag my if statement over. And since I need to combine, what I want to do is I want to do hours and minutes, so that means I'm going to need to compare 2 different variables, right? And variable of hour and the variable minutes. So I need to also add in a Boolean statement. So I'm going to grab a Boolean block, I'm going to replace the true, and then I'm going to drag over my 2 inequalities that I want to compare. So I'm getting all of this from my logic block. Okay. And the things that I want is I want hour and minute. So I'm going to get those from my real-time clock block, because that's the block that's going to control my real-time clock. So I'm going to drag over hour, and I'm going to drag over minute. Okay. And I want my alarm to say if it's greater than 4:47, so 4:47, and our real-time clock operates on military time. So at noon is 12, and so at 4 o'clock is 16. So you have to add 1 to, so 1 o'clock is 13, 2 o'clock is 14, and so on. So it's 16. And my minute, I'm going to say if it's greater than or equal to, right now, again, it's 4:47. I'm going to say 48 minutes. If it's later than this, I am going to play a little alarm, and I'm going to have it play me a little melody. So I'm going to go to my music block, grab down a melody, I'm going to click on it. Alright, I've got myself a melody. Perfect. Okay. And I'm going to hit done. Alright. And to let me know that it's working, I am going to have a show icon on my microbit of a heart face. No, I'm going to do X for my, there we go. I'm going to have an X on my show icon. So that means that it is now past 6:48. If it's time hasn't hit my timer, I'm going to have a little heart icon. Okay. All right, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to take this function and I am going to drag it to my forever loop. Okay, and I'm going to put the time alarm right at the top of the forever loop. Right, and so why I have my nice battery is now this should keep track of the time even if I unplug my microbit. So if I unplug it, plug it back in, this is still going to know my time. Right, so I can use this just like a regular timer. Okay. Now, how do I set it? So that is going to be set in the OnStart block. So when I go to my DS1307 block and you scroll down, there's a big master block here that has all the basic time setting features that you're going to need. It's 2025 right now. We are in September, so that's month 9. It is the 27th of September. Today is Saturday, so we're going to say that's going to be day 6. And it is hour of 1600, and I am going to set my time to be 47. So it's 16. So it's 4:47. So it's 1647 minutes. The last thing I have to remember to do is at the very bottom there's a start block. So I'm going to set it, and then I'm going to start my clock. Okay? Now, there's one thing that you might want to do, and you don't have to do it, but I think it's kind of useful, is it might be helpful to also have the time showing up on your screen. Okay? And we're going to kind of brute force it a little bit. Okay? And so I'm going to kind of just follow this same pattern, just because the simple thing was that it was easy to do this. And I'm going to cut and paste, and I'm going to pop the first one there. And so here I'm going to say time equals, there we go. So I'm going to say time equals, and then I'm going to pop in a new block here. Boom. And this is going to be oops, I want this to be a number. Sorry about that. I'm going to go to OLED, and I can either drag a new number down or I can copy it. Okay, and so boom, and this is going to be my hour. So I'm going to go back to my DS1300 for hour. There we go, right there. And I'm going to make it look like a digital clock here. So I'm going to copy that show new line, and I'm going to put a colon in. So it'll go time equals hour colon, and then I'm going to copy that number block there again. And this time instead of hour, I am going to do minutes. Okay, so there it is. There's my minute. Okay. And then I'm going to do colon again. All right, and then I'm going to paste this minute in again. And this time instead of minute, I'm going to do seconds. This is just going to let me know how close I am to my minute, because waiting for a minute is surprisingly long. So now I'm going to have something showing up on my screen that says time equals hour, minute, second. Okay. And I've got my time alarm set up. I've got my on start block set up. And if you want to get your time set as close as possible, what you'll want to do is edit this hour, minutes, and maybe even seconds if you want it to what the actual time is right before you download it, right? Because I've now been talking a little bit and it's now 4:52. So when I download this, my time for my microbit is going to be 1647, right? So I might need to set this up differently over here, say maybe, but again, you might be setting up an alarm for 3 hours from now or whatever. Okay, so let's download my program. There's my cable. Okay, so let's allow my microbit to connect up and find it. There's a little click. Pairing up, connecting. It's connecting to my microbit. Alright, now let's download my program. Alright, it's downloaded. I'm going to unplug it from my USB because I won't need it because I got my 5-volt plugged in over here onto the shield. Alright, now my program should be running, and notice I've got my little heart icon, which means it is still 1647. And now what we're going to do is we're going to wait a minute, and we'll just speed up the process here a little bit. We'll probably do a little bit of a cut out of this, and then we'll come back in a little bit, and there's my time. It's 16:47:26, 30 seconds. All right, so I'm gonna cut out and then we'll hit it right back when we're about at 55. Okay, we are now at 16:55. All right, 59 seconds. So now an alarm should come on, because it is now, according to my microbit, 16:48, and an X showed up onto my microbit. So that's kind of how you set up an alarm. And I could set up another if statement to turn the alarm off, right? I could use it to turn on and off an LED strip. I could use it to turn on and off a relay by sending a signal of 0. I'm going to unplug it just for the annoying sound, right? But if I wanted to say send a signal at this time to a relay, and remember, all I would have to do is go to pins, and I would just drop a digitally write pin number, and then remember what pin my relay was attached to, and change that to 1, and that would turn it on. And if I wanted to have that in my else statement, my relay would be off prior to that alarm time, right? And then I could have another if then statement for setting up, say I want it to go between this time and this time, right? So once it gets to this other time, I want everything to turn back off again. So again, you can design fairly sophisticated timers based upon using the real-time clock, and remember, it keeps the time. But this is your basic function for setting up an alarm. Don't forget that you have to put the start block in. That's easy to forget. I've done it a couple of times and then not wondering why my real-time clock isn't working. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward.